Have you ever seen those cool time-lapse videos that condense hours in just few seconds? Well, let me introduce you to something more interesting, the hyperlapse. The hyperlapse is like a time-lapse but on a steroid, adding motion to the mix and taking the viewer to a whole new experience. So you might be wondering how this is done, and this is what we are going to talk today. In few words, an hyperlapse is a bunch of photos taken from very different angles, giving to the shot the sense of motion. It doesn't matter if you already know the place or not, the best tool to start the pre-production and the planning shooting is Google Street View. From there, you can just check if the route that you were thinking that is going to work for the shot, it really does. After you have prepared the whole path that you're going to follow for the hyperlapse, then it's time to prepare the tools for that. To make an hyperlapse, you could use a tripod, you could use a monopod, you could use a gimbal, and you can go handheld. Please just don't go handheld if you really know what you are doing. I didn't want to use tripod or a gimbal to add an extra motion to the shot. I decided that this time I'm going to bring the Slypod Pro. The Slypod Pro is a mix between a monopod and a slider. One of the coolest things about this is that you can regulate without any problem the axis. This is very important because when you are going towards the object, and to avoid any headache later in the post-production, it's better just to lock all the axes that you will not use for the motion and just leave the one that you are going to use. For example, you just want to tilt the camera, or you just want to pan the camera. So that's why I decided this time to use the Slypod Pro, because there you can lock some axes and then just use one, the one that you will need. I could achieve the same bringing my tripod and a gimbal, but I wanted to go just lightweight. I didn't want to carry too many things. I was going through very different places. I was moving through the city, and I didn't just want to bring a lot of stuff on it. So when you are in a place, you just need to set your anchor point. The anchor point basically is the point that will make the whole scene to rotate or tilt or whatever motion movement you are doing. So if your camera has the grid option, just enable and add to the anchor point and try to aim every shot to the anchor point. If your camera doesn't have the grid option, so you can bring an external monitor that for sure will have this option for you. So once you finish recording everything what you wanted, let's bring everything together and let's start with Lightroom or any editing software that you might prefer. Here we will just make a few adjustments to the image, just lights, shadows, highlights. I prefer to do the colors later in Premiere Pro because it will give me just a little bit more of flexibility to keep the same tone over the whole image. Now, let's bring everything together to After Effects. So once you have all the material in After Effects, let's go to Tracking Motion, set the anchor point to the point that you were trying to aim in every shot. Here's one important thing. I honestly prefer to go one by myself, so doing it manually. And there you have, we have the anchor point and we have synchronized every shot. Now let's add some blur. Let's search for the effect Force Motion, and that's pretty much everything. Now let's go back to After Effects just for the final touch with the colors. And that's it, guys. That's how I created my latest hyperlapse. Let me know, guys, if you like this technique, and if you would like to know more about that, I can make more tutorials about this. Maybe going more specifically with the settings of the camera, or maybe trying or showing the difference doing it with a tripod, with a gimbal, handheld. Thank you very much if you got to this point, and hope to see you in the next time. See ya!